Atlanta Mayor Andrew Young is back home tonight after leading a 6-day trade mission to the Caribbean. By all accounts, it's a business trip that paid off. Our Maynard Eden and photographer James Breedlove went along, and tonight they began a 4-part series on the mayor and his mission. Maynard?
Patricia, it was an exhaustive yet exciting visit to the Caribbean. Now, we've been able to document the fact that Andrew Young is an international superstar who can open the right doors for Atlanta businessmen. Now, the mayor is often criticized for being out of town too frequently, but believe me, this trip was serious business and hard work. Hard work that should produce meaningful results. We begin with a look at the cities we visited: Montego Bay and Kingston, Jamaica, and finally, Port of Spain, Trinidad.
When you come to Jamaica, you're really supposed to go to the beach, and we're not getting to do that this time.
It's true, this trade mission was a lot of work and very little play. In fact, Mayor Young got a chance to swim only once and play tennis just twice. Now he's on the tennis court every day when he's home in Atlanta. The mayor's time was spent opening doors and making meaningful contacts for the 40-member business delegation. That meant receptions with the prime ministers and leading officials of Jamaica and Trinidad, and that meant private sessions with those who control the purse strings in each country. For Mayor Young, taking care of business in the Caribbean was, as they say in the islands, no problem.
But we think that as partners between Atlanta and Trinidad and Tobago, we can start a new relationship in prosperity and development, which we have only begun, and we count on you to follow up on.
The trip proved fruitful to a number of Atlanta area businesses. M&M Products Company, for example, signed a multi-million-dollar deal, and others reached agreements that could make this a billion-dollar trip. Tommy Moore, for example, is a self-made millionaire from Knoxville, Tennessee.
It will make something happen for my business, for my children's business, and hopefully for my children's business, because it was just kind of like a snowball. It will continue to roll if we roll it, but we must roll it. You got to know when to fold them, and you got to know when to hold them.
Two things that stand out in my mind about this trade mission. One, Andrew Young is as good, if not better, as a businessman than he is a politician. For example, I'm told he could lead a delegation like this one to anywhere in the third world as a private citizen and charge 10% commission on each deal and make out like a bandit. Number two, Mayor Young plans to run again and win again. More on that tomorrow when we continue our series, Andrew Young, the man and his mission.
I really find it hard to believe you didn't have a good time down there.
No one believes it, but no tan, no swimming, no tennis, good journalism, and good contacts, really.
You're slipping.
Thanks, Maynard. Andrew Young leaves Atlanta frequently, too frequently according to some city officials, but his latest trip, a trade mission, not to the Bahamas, as we mistakenly said a few moments ago, but to Jamaica and Trinidad, may quiet much of that criticism. Maynard Eaton, who traveled with the trade delegation, is here to tell us why. Good to have you back.
Nice being back,
Saw you
John.
on the beaches down there.
I know you did. The reason, John, is that this time on this trade mission, the mayor produced. That's because Andrew Young is held in such high esteem throughout the Caribbean and the third world. Now, he's perhaps the most popular black American in the world, and that influence opened a lot of doors for the trade delegation.
Any mayor could bring a trade mission, but it would not probably have received the kind of publicity that it has.
He may just be Mayor Young in Atlanta, but he's still called Ambassador Young abroad, which means he gets red carpet treatment from foreign officials. And that prestige resulted in meaningful contacts for these business executives and lavish receptions hosted by U.S. ambassadors and prime ministers like Jamaica's Edward Seaga.
I want to congratulate you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You're
President.
a good export, bringing back an import.
Thank you very much.
And best of luck to...
I don't know whether you understood, but these two fellas started out just 10 years ago with $500, and this year they hope to gross $50 million. They did $43 million last year.
Mayor Young's international popularity is almost unbelievable. Even in the mountains, they call it the bush here in the Caribbean. He's known as the world's most prominent black American. That prestige has helped make this his most productive international trip. Now, Mayor Young is often criticized for being away from Atlanta, not minding the store. But this time, on this trip, he's brought home the bacon. That means potential jobs for unemployed Atlantans and profits for local entrepreneurs. Young's clout and popularity apparently paid off. Trinidad plans to open a tourist office in Atlanta, and its airline, British West Indies, may soon fly into Hartsfield Airport. And because of him, the trade mission returned home with multi-million-dollar deals and proposed contracts they would not have won without him.
Okay, we're talking having been here 2 days, and we've made some very successful meetings with people. Ministerial levels, people at the very head of the various oil agencies, etc., and also we've met with a potential joint venture partner.
Due primarily to Mayor Young?
Due primarily to the trade mission, yes. I consider this a successful mission.
I got the feeling while touring Africa with Andy, being with the Messiah, and to be with him make you 10 feet tall, and I mean, it make me feel like a meganaire. Not a millionaire, but a meganaire.
Oh, hello, how you doing?
That feeling is shared by the people of Jamaica and Trinidad as well. Mayor Young was front-page news at every stop, and he could have spent hours signing autographs and taking pictures. Young is looked upon as a hero in the Caribbean.
I've had invitations from as far away as Singapore and Sri Lanka and India, Pakistan, Philippines, Korea, Japan, Australia, you know, everywhere. But what we try to do is target on those countries that have a direct relationship to Atlanta and that will be doing something directly related to Atlanta, the state of Georgia, and the southeast region.
Mayor Young's vision, his mission, is to internationalize the city of Atlanta, and he's taken a good step in that direction. But ironically, he was reluctant to make this trip, and I'll tell you why tomorrow when I continue our series, Andrew Young, the Man and His Mission.
All right, thank you, Maynard.
Perhaps the biggest surprise of the Atlanta trade mission to the Caribbean was that there's money to be made. Mayor Young, you recall, was reluctant to make the trip because Jamaica and Trinidad both have troubled economies. Maynard Eaton, who accompanied the mayor on his week-long trade mission, has more in the story. Maynard.
Andrea, the Caribbean simply isn't the sort of international area where entrepreneurs could reasonably expect to turn a profit. The political climate there is worse than Chicago's, and many island residents are literally suffering. It's so bad, the United States government is considering additional economic aid. It's called the Caribbean Basin Initiative. The Caribbean is an exotic, exciting area to visit, ideal for tourists with its pretty scenery and pretty people. But it's far from being the best place to do business. In fact, the Atlanta Trade Mission could not have come at a worse time for Jamaica. Prices here have doubled within the past month. Gas, for example, is $6 per gallon.
We either trade or we perish.
This year is the first year in which it's not going to be a good year. But the factors which have caused this year not to be a good year, that is, the fact that the recession has hit us fully at this time and has reduced the flow of earnings from our major foreign exchange earner, bauxite and alumina, and some debt that was not settled in the regime of the last government, which was deferred until this particular year. Both of these came together and have caused us to have to cut back.
Jamaica and Trinidad are both Caribbean islands, but in many respects they are worlds apart. Jamaica and its people are virtually broke and depressed. Its government is highly volatile and on shaky grounds. In fact, the upcoming elections there could see the return of Prime Minister Michael Manley. Trinidad, on the other hand, is the wealthiest island in the Caribbean and one of the richest nations in the world. It's